lack of money. So we deal the whole world situation. Now we're all dealing with COVID, right?
Yeah, health.
Health, right?
Family.
So now we know, I mean, we're all adults here, and we know that life is a constant stress, right? There's an
Hmm.
old Jewish saying that says, people make plans and God laughs, right?
Oh, that's a Jewish thing?
It's
Yeah,
not just
it's
a Jewish thing.
yeah. There's an old Brooklyn saying, it's sometimes you're the statue and sometimes you're the pigeon, all right? And then there's another old Brooklyn saying, sometimes you get the elevator and sometimes you get the shaft,
There you go.
right?
Yep.
You never know what's around the corner. 1 second, everything's fine, and another second, bam, you don't know what's going to hit you. Would everybody agree with that?
I do.
Definitely.
Yeah, Diane. 1 second, I was looking at Diane. She was upright. Turn around to look at Kathy. I turn around again. Diane's on the floor, on a rock, and she broke her wrist.
Oh,
Just like that, right?
Just like that, it happened.
Just like that.
Diane, I'll have to share my broken wrist story with you.
Yeah, you.
I'm telling you, Judy, it's hard to get dressed.
All right.
It's a bummer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more. Yes, it is.
So anyway, we all agree that, and you know, the world doesn't really care what kind of stresses we have. Things, you know, I always think of like the sand on the beach. Do the waves care about the sand?
No.
Pounding it and pounding it and pounding it, right?
Yes.
The universe just lives its life and we get affected and things happen that are beyond our control. So what I'm going to present to everybody here, and this is a mantra that I must say at least 5 times a day to remind myself,
Yes.
is that it doesn't matter what happens to me,
It's how you handle it.
it's how you handle it and how it's going to handle it. Now, some of us have better tools to handle things than others.
Like birds.
Hey, the birds.
Wave to everybody. You gonna wave? Nah, she wants to go night night soon. So
That's right.
Okay.
yeah.
So I have developed some tools that have really,
Night.
I'm somebody who throughout my life has dealt with a tremendous amount of anxiety and stress and really had a hard time handling a lot of things throughout my life. And there was a point where I realized, do I want to be a victim of these things that happen to me? Or do I want to learn and grow from the things that happen? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, so the quality of our life has to do with the choices that we make in our life. And the quality of our life has to do with how we're able to deal with the constant change and stressors that are in our life, right? And let me say that again, is that stress is change. It could even be good change. I've seen people, you know, happy in love, getting married, you know, but they're still stressing out, right? Even with the good things. So I'm going to just talk about our nervous system for a minute, okay? So there are two parts to our nervous system. And all you guys know that since, you know, you've heard me speak about it in the office many times. There's the parasympathetic, which is relaxation, rejuvenation, and repair, right? And there's the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight. It's action, doing things. But it's also could become the stress response in the fight or flight. Both are important. Both we need both in our lives. If we were in parasympathetic all the time, nothing would ever get done. We'd
How
start,
true it's
right?
how true that is.
If we're sympathetic all the time, many things happen. Our blood pressure gets high. Our blood sugar gets high, leading to heart disease, diabetes. Our immune system gets depressed because it's a low priority to fight a virus or a cancer cell if a bear is chasing us, right? So our immune system gets depressed. The high blood pressure could lead to heart disease, as can the high blood sugar. Inflammation could run rampant in our body. All right. So these are things that could really make us sick. So when we're stuck in the stress response, it's something that is really unhealthy for us. And let alone, we don't enjoy our lives. It's very hard to enjoy your life when you feel like, you know, that saber-toothed tiger is on your tail all the time, even when he's not. So subluxations, and everybody here knows what a subluxation is, correct?
Correct.
Right. Subluxations, when we're subluxated, our body goes into that fight or flight. Right?
Right.
So what are the three things that cause subluxations?
Stress, and stress.
Right. So physical stress and trauma, right? Mental,
Yeah.
emotional stress,
Falls.
falls, that's a physical stress, and chemical stress,
Right.
right? Chemical
I
stress, of
accidentally
course.
burnt the chicken up this morning. No, the oven touches. All this smoke fills the house.
Ah,
Chemical stress.
that's stress.
Yes.
Chicken stress. All right. Actually, D.D. Palmer, everybody remembers D.D. Palmer, the founder of chiropractic. He said that thoughts are the main cause of subluxations. Our thoughts are the main cause of our subluxation. Right? So how can we affect our nervous system in a certain way so we don't get subluxated?
Well, we can get consistent adjustments.
Right? Consistent adjustments are going to help us from going into that fight or flight all the time. And we have
Correct.
many, many patients constantly who tell us how they don't have anxiety the same way they did, how they handle stress in a much healthier way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You can educate yourself better to know what's important and what's not important.
Right. So realizing when you really are in danger and when you're not.
Correct.
Right?
Could
So
be
that's
just
that's
idea.
learning how to work with your mind, basically, right?
Right.
How do we deal with chemical stress? Some of that's out of our control just from the environment. But what chemical stress, how can we deal with chemical stress in a way that will,
Antioxidants.
what's that?
Antioxidants.
Antioxidants, right? Are there any things that we should avoid?
Well, we should avoid sugar. We should avoid bad foods. We should avoid too much alcohol.
Right,
We should coffee is something that you can't have. You can't have too much of stuff that probably you really love, but you got to eat like vegetables and fruits and stuff, but you try to get stuff that's not filled with all these pesticides.
yeah, and all these additives and all those things that are going to cause stress on our body, right?
Right.
Let me ask everybody, what do you think's behind a lot of our addictive behaviors?
I'm addicted to spinning, you mean?
Yeah, what's behind our addictive behaviors?
Well, sometimes you get like maybe that spinning or whatever is something to calm yourself.
All right, so
So
why
that
do
you,
people like do drugs and smoke cigarettes? And
Pain, trying to get away from the pain.
emotional pain?
a feeling of hopelessness.
You know, you know, in my experience, is that people don't know how to calm themselves. So
It can
it's
also be that I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Go ahead.
so it's that short-term gratification, right?
Well, it's
When
the
you're
world we
stressed
live in.
out, it makes you feel good momentarily, but then in the long,
Instead of facing what's really wrong, it's a way of escaping facing what's really wrong.
yeah, sometimes
Something that's really wrong or something that's really troubling you. Instead of dealing with that, it's easier to soothe yourself.
exactly. It's a way of soothing ourselves. You know, so
Okay.
let's say like cigarettes, for instance, right? I was a smoker for 10 years. I was a pack and a half a day smoker, right? So as
Really?
soon as I'd feel any anxiety, what would I reach for?
Cigarette.
Cigarette.
Cigarette,
The
right?
habit.
And it would make me feel better momentarily, but it would subluxate me more, which would create more anxiety. Got it?
Right.
Same
So
thing
it's
with
like a vicious cycle.
it's that same thing with sugar. I have a really I have a my day today will totally embody everything I have to talk about. All right. So I left my lunch at home by accident. So I ran home to eat my lunch. And Diane, I always eat like a very healthy lunch.
Absolutely,
If I
100%.
eat bread like a sandwich, I'm out
Tired.
for the afternoon. I can't function. I get like brain fog. So I've learned healthy choices, right? Have a salad with a protein, you know, like sardines or turkey, you know, something like that, chicken, whatever it is, but I have a salad with a protein. So I go home, I have a salad with a protein. I found this actually, Trader Joe's has this wild smoked trout. It's freaking delicious. It's unbelievable how good this stuff. And I'm feeling great after I have this. Because, and that had to do with my morning too, which I'll tell you about in a second. As I'm walking out the door, it was my wife's birthday. It was actually her birthday today, but we celebrated it on Sunday. I had gotten her this beautiful chocolate cake from Karma Road. You know, Karma Road's a healthy place. You know, it was a vegan. She's vegan, but it's still loaded with sugar. You know, it's from Karma Road, right? So I go, oh, maybe I'll have a piece of pie, a cake. So here I am. I don't just have this beautiful salad, and I'm gonna be eating birthday cake and ice cream afterwards. By the time I got to the office, my whole body was, I could literally feel myself buzzing. I could feel like this.
Did somebody give you black tea?
Sugar.
I couldn't believe,
Sugar.
I couldn't believe what I did to myself. We're unbelievable, you know, with the greatest of intentions, right? So anyway, so the same thing, it's a short-term gratification. These things that make us feel good momentarily, but in the long run, they really screw us up and they cause more stress. And when people are under more stress, they tend to do more addictive behavior, right? So you get it. It becomes a whole cycle. All right, so this workshop, so how do we nurture? And I'm going to ask everybody here, well, we know Susanna does spinning, all right? But what do you do to nurture yourself? Something that you do that's actually good for you when you're stressed.
Okay,
Meditate.
in the morning I try to read something.
Read what,
Um,
like what? Like People Magazine or The Inquirer or something?
like it's a little excerpt. It's called Jesus is Calling. So
Right?
it's like I do that. And then at night, what I do, which is probably not healthy, but I play like some word games or some number games on my tablet. It's just something that's just mindless. and it helps me unwind.
Yeah, I don't know if that's unhealthy.
That's
It's-
not-
Well, I could be exercising, right?
Anybody else have things that they do?
Yeah, I weave as
You
well as
weave.
I swim. Just funny. Just funny. Oh, and I knit too.
In the morning?
In the morning, I typically will read. I read my Bible, and then I'm working with Gary's,
Right.
and we're exercising and stuff. So yeah.
When I get stressed out, I meditate.
You meditate.
Yeah.
You wait till you get,
Well, when I know something is building,
then you'll meditate, yeah.
yeah, to bring it down. Mhm.
So Dean DePice introduced me to this idea of the 3-day day. That you kind of split your day up into 3 days. So the first part of the day, which is before you go to work or whatever it is that you're going to be doing all day, is the part of the day where you build things up to nurture yourself so you could work and deal with stress for the rest of the day. Then you have the day, which is work, whatever that is, right? All the things that you do maybe at home or at work. And then the last part of the day is the time to be with your family or friends or to, kind of relax and social time. So when I'm talking about morning rituals for stress, in my experience, once I really adopted those habits, it literally changed my life and how I am all day.
Mhm.
All right. So what I personally do every day, and I think it's really important actually, is I exercise every morning. Get my heart going. And the second thing I do is I meditate. So those are the ways where I feel that I feed myself for the rest of the day. Now, what exercise does is it really balances out the hormones in your body. And it really helps you with that whole stress response. What I want to just say on the side is that you have to be careful not to do intense exercise every day, like somebody's sister we have in the audience, because what
She
that'll do,
doesn't do it every day. She may take a rest day or two.
right, what that'll do is actually cause more cortisol, more stress hormone in your body. So I'll do something intense one day and then do yoga the next day or walk the next day. But as long as I get my heart rate up and I get a little sweaty and get things going. And then what I personally do is meditate. But, Diane was talking about like prayer, but something inspirational, something that grounds you in your heart with who you are, a time to just be instead of doing.
Mhm.
Some time to be instead of going right into the world and doing. And this grounds you in yourself. In all religions, we all have a Sabbath, some kind of Sabbath, which is really about that, about doing that one day a week. But I see it important to have sort of a small little Sabbath every single day.
Mhm.
Way to stop. All right. Another something that also is very grounding and lets us be and let us contemplate our lives is journaling. That might be good for some people. Prayer, whatever it is.
You also have a wonderful tool that you started, which is called the gas card, which
Thank
is
you.
awesome.
So
So you should share with them of that.
thank you. So I'm gonna share with everybody a gas card. So what I do is I take an index card and I fold it into like a brochure. So 3 things, right? And I put a G on the top of one. I put A on the top of the middle, and I put S on the top of the last one. This is so, I'm so glad you said this, Diane. So G has to do with gratitude. So I'll write down all the things I have gratitude for. And this is something I do early in the morning, because if you're anything like me, sometimes I wake up in the morning, I look at my face in the mirror, and I go, oh my God. I'm
I don't
tired.
look at my
I'm
face in the
old.
morning. I
It's
don't
like,
do
oh
that.
my God, I can't believe, oh God, right? My life sucks, right? So you got to remember all of a sudden all the good things that you have in your life.
I do that when I wake up.
You do.
That's what I do. I don't write them down, but I go through
You
them,
do that.
and that's part of my prayer. Yes.
In the Jewish religion, you wake up and you say a prayer called Modeh Ani. Modeh Ani lepanecha ruach chai l'chayam. And that's something I'd really like to start doing again. But that's basically thanking God that I woke up. That's pretty good in itself.
Right, absolutely.
Thank you,
is.
God, that I woke up this morning.
Mhm.
All right. So there's that. So gratitude. A is action, all the action steps, all the things that you want to do today. All right. It's like a little to-do list. And then S is service, something that you're going to do for somebody else, which is really important because that gets us out of our head. When we serve others, our lives aren't all about ourselves. All right. That gas card, that's also a great tool. What share?
Just a question on the S. So when you do something for someone else, does a spouse count?
Yeah,
Okay.
Or you could make a phone call to somebody, anything.
yeah. And that's what I usually do. I'll say, let me call somebody I know is not feeling great, who's sick. That's what I usually do. Because a lot of times I procrastinate those things. So
Like
then
when
I
you
have a
call,
list. Oh, let me call my cousin. I know he's been having a tough time lately.
like when you call me. I'm in Texas, by the way. So,
Right.
yeah.
So that's a great tool. And let me tell you, I think exercise is probably one of the most important things. And when you do that in the morning, well, let me say, when I do that in the morning, which I do every morning, but it makes such a difference in terms of my attitude all day. I mean, it's huge. It just relaxes me. It puts me in a good mood. And I feel when I exercise, I know that I could deal with things in a so much better way than when I don't. I
You
just
can
know
meet them head on.
I could just handle things so much better when I've really moved in the morning. So I just so highly recommend that. And I'm going to close this. So this morning, it ends up that there's all this health stuff going on in my family. Really stuff that has really been getting me down, overwhelming. And I spent the morning calling doctor's offices and making these virtual appointments for everybody. And talk about it, I could feel myself stressing. And I kind of got right into it. I took the dog for a walk. And I walked the dog for an hour, which is pretty good. I mean, that's nice. But I got back home and I made all these appointments. And I was like, I could feel the adrenaline, the cortisol running through my body. I could literally I was buzzing. I was buzzing with stress, and I had to get to the office. I told a couple of patients that I'd meet them early and I'd adjust them before regular patients. And I got on the phone and I called her, you're gonna have to wait for me for another half hour. And I went and I did some hard exercise for just 20 minutes. For 20 minutes. And then I meditated for 10 minutes. It's a half hour. And I came here a different person. I was up, I was happy, I was engaging with people. I just felt I was focused. And if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't taken the time to take care of myself like that before I got here, I would have been a mess all day. And the most important thing is I wouldn't be able to serve everybody. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Mhm.
Yes, you're right.
You know, you can't pour from an empty cup. And I was an empty cup. I was so stressed out I couldn't think straight. So, I mean, that's my share with you that you know, get up a little earlier, watch one less show, do, you know, whatever it is. And that's the thing, is you kind of have to plan it out. If you just figure, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do this, you got to schedule it. You know, so instead of going to sleep at 11 o'clock, I'm going to sleep at 10:30, so I still get to sleep that night.
Are you serious? I have to
I
go
know you
to
go to sleep
bed
like
at
at
8:30.
5. I can't believe you're
What time
past
do
your
you get up?
bedtime already.
I get up at 5 o'clock. Well, this morning it was a little later than that, but I felt a lot better.
So I'm telling you, it'd make all the difference in the world for you. And I know hopefully people are going to be looking at recordings of this, and I'm telling them the same thing. Listen, it really changed the whole timbre of your life. All right?
Well, I
So-
know just from doing the stretching and then doing the core exercises, and that's not the hardcore exercises like you do, but just that little bit does help.
Does help, right?
Yes, it does.
You know,
It gets your blood flowing or something.
get your blood flowing, right?
You know what else helps? Singing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Singing really helps.
Mhm.
I bet.
If you play a musical instrument and sing, good.
Well, it's very
It is
interesting. Singing stimulates the vagus nerve.
Really,
Yeah.
it really improves your mood.
The other thing I started was I have a cold glass of water. Or anything.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's
I don't know if that's good or bad for you, but it seems to help my situation a little better.
Oh, that's cool. Somebody else
Yeah.
told me that yesterday in the office. I can't remember who it was. That she has a glass of water waiting for her on her bedstand, and she drinks a whole glass of water before she even gets out of bed.
Sometimes
Oh, wow.
I don't always remember.
That's interesting.
I do drink tea in the herbs, ginger, lemon tea in the morning. But yeah,
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I believe it's probably 7. Yep, it's 7:03. So we're gonna
6:03.
sign off. This actually went fairly smoothly. I feel bad. Just Randy somehow couldn't hear it, but everybody else at work.
I could, but I'm sorry you can't see me. And we'll see you again in Texas next week.
Yeah, we'll
Hope
see you
so.
next week. That's Sherry.
Yes.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Diane. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's the timing because the husband comes home and, you know, there's dinner and there's the cat's being fed. And
yes.
you know,
Right.
but today I pushed it and I made it.
Well,
So
we're gonna have the recording too.
good,
But I like to see you live.
I like to see you. I miss you so much.
Miss you too, Sherry.
Yeah, I miss. You guys had a glorious fall there.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Beautiful.
It was really
Absolutely.
special.
Missed it so much. But saw pictures.
Great.
All right. This is actually gonna close on itself.
All right. Good
All right.
night.
So love you guys and thank you so much.
Love you too. Behave. Stay well.
Yeah. You too. Bye.